This was a little over a month ago now. I got a call to go meet with my boss, and when I did, he let me go. And this wasn't just a job, this was my career. And honestly, it was one of the hardest days of my life. And it just so happened that evening I had 2 tickets to a wrestling show. I don't watch wrestling currently. I haven't in a while, but I live in a small town, and so when wrestling comes through, I make it a priority to go support the guys who would travel all the way here. I had 2 tickets, but I didn't have anyone to go with me. I don't have any friends who like wrestling. I couldn't bring myself to go to the show by myself. And so I started driving home, and I was caught in my head, and I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't driving the direction of home. I had made some subconscious decision to drive towards the venue. And so I pulled to the parking lot, and I was about a half an hour early. I sat in the car, and I couldn't bring myself to walk inside. I sat around, I scrolled on my phone, and then I saw people with wrestling t-shirts on, and I decided to go inside. And I watched the show. I sat in the back by myself, and I'm going to have to call back. Hey, sorry about that. This is part 2. I just needed a moment. On that card was the Wrestling Figure Bros versus the BWO. And I know that I was having one of the worst days of my entire life. And as I sat in the back of this auditorium and watched this match, I found myself laughing. And at intermission, or at the end of the show, I can't remember which one it was, I went over to the Wrestling Bros table, and I saw Brian and Matt, and I tried to let them know how much that meant to me to laugh. And I started tearing up at the merch table, which I feel like is never a good look, but I guess there's no good ending to this, but it was just a moment of, I just didn't know that I needed that day. I didn't know that professional wrestling could be that for me on this day. I needed a laugh, and professional wrestling was the laugh I needed that day.
Hey, I'm glad that professional wrestling could be there for you. And I'll say this. You seem like a good dude. You seem self-aware. You got a laugh out of me when you talked about being emotional, knowing that you probably shouldn't have, but you were. Your emotions were getting the most of you. Even right now, I'm choking up a little bit. And as I first heard this, I was choking up a little bit. And I feel for you. And I feel that I'd like to think I have a good people radar, if you will. And I just think that means that, you're going to land on your feet. You're going to be okay. And you'll look back at this phone call and that scenario and the situation in 5 years, and it'll just be a thing that will be a part of your life. But you'll be in a good place. I'm sure of it. And I know that feeling. Even as a wrestler, I know that feeling of having so much in your brain that is taking over your brain that nobody else is even thinking about but you. It's the most important thing in your life at that moment. And you think everybody is talking about it or thinking about it, but literally no one else kind of cares except you and, maybe some people close to you. But even them, they're not even thinking about it that much. They're thinking about their own shit. And so that's clogging up your brain, and you just need something to get that distraction. And sulking seems like the right thing to do. I mean, trust me, I've been here a million times with this kind of stuff. So for me, it's extra fun that wrestling was a magnet. It drew you. You thought you were going home, but the magnet of professional wrestling just somehow took you to the venue, brought you inside, and made you watch wrestling in the shittiest day of your life. And it was one thing, one match, all it takes to get your mind off of it. That's all we do. It's all we should be doing. It's all the goal, I think, of any wrestler should be, is just to be able to take your mind off of a thing and let somebody enjoy a thing while something else is hurting them. So again, I'm glad I could be part of something that could help take you away, even for a couple seconds, minutes, hours, whatever it may be. Best of luck to you. I think you're going to land on your feet. I think you're going to be great. I think you are great. One of the reasons I think you're great is you called them the wrestling figure bros. See, that made me laugh. You're doing well. Don't worry about it. Hey, thanks for watching. That call was part of a whole podcast called Wrestling Anonymous. Listen to the whole thing weekly. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go subscribe. And while you're at it, subscribe right here on YouTube to Colt Cabana's channel. Thank you.